History of Mongolia. The Mongol Empire, 1206 to 1368 CE, ultimately ruled Asia from the Black Sea to the Korean promontory following the underlying successes of its organizer Genghis Khan, also known as Chinggis, r. 1206 to 1227 CE, the primary Great Khan or all-inclusive leader of the Mongol people groups. Genghis fashioned the realm by joining the migrant clans of the Asian steppe and making a devastatingly powerful armed force dependent on quick, light, and profoundly organized cavalry. Master horsemen and bowmen, the Mongols demonstrated relentless, overcoming armed forces in Iran, Russia, Eastern Europe, China, and numerous different spots. The relatives of Genghis each governed a piece of the domain, the Four Khanates, the most remarkable of which was the Mongol Yuan dynasty in China, 1271 to 1368 CE, settled by Kublai Khan, r. 1260 to 1279 CE. At last, the Mongols turned out to be important for the stationary social orders they had so effortlessly overpowered, and many changed over from customary shamanism to Tibetan Buddhism or Islam. This was an overall manifestation of the Mongols losing a piece of their social way of life as well, their popular military ability, as the Four Khanates all surrendered to harming dynastic debates and the armed forces of their adversaries. Albeit not renowned for making any enduring design ponders or political establishments, the Mongols made the critical commitment to world culture of at last interfacing the Eastern and Western universes by means of extended shipping lanes, conciliatory government offices, and the development of teachers and voyages from Eurasia to the Far East. Wanderers of the steppe. The Mongols were peaceful wanderers of the Asian steppe who crowded sheep, goats, ponies, camels, and yaks. These clans moved by the seasons and lived in transitory camps of round-felt tents or yurts, zhers. The environment of Mongolia is regularly brutal and, mirroring this, attire was warm, sturdy, and pragmatic. Felt from sheep's fleece and creature hides were the most widely recognized material to make attire, which was surprisingly comparative for the two people: heelless boots, loose pants, a long coat robe, deal, worn with a calfskin belt, and a tapered cap with ear flaps, while underwear were produced using cotton or silk. The Mongol eating regimen was generally dairy-based, with cheddar, yogurt, margarine, and dried milk curds, kurat, being staples. A somewhat cocktail, kumis, was produced using female horse's milk, which was frequently flushed to abundance. The groups being too important as a supportable wellspring of milk, fleece, and even excrement for fuel, meat was commonly procured through chasing, and wild leafy foods were accumulated through scavenging. To load up for winter and give meat to exceptional eats, for example, at the unpredictable ancestral get-togethers, extraordinary chases were coordinated. At these occasions, a procedure known as the nurge was utilized, where riders enveloped a tremendous zone of steppe and gradually drove the game, anything from marmots to wolves, into a consistently more modest region where they could be all the more effortlessly murdered by mounted toxopholite. The procedures, association, and order of the nurge would work well for the Mongols when they did battle. The greater part of these highlights of middle-age everyday life in the Mongol world are as yet preceded with today by steppe wanderers across Asia. Albeit migrant life for the most part saw men do the chasing and ladies do the cooking, the division of work was not generally so clear, and regularly both genders could play out the undertakings of the other, including utilizing a bow and riding. Ladies tended creatures, set up and stashed camps, drove the clan's carts, cared for the youngsters, arranged groceries, and engaged visitors. Ladies had preferably more rights over in most other contemporary Asian societies and could both possess and acquire property. A few ladies even controlled as officials in the spells between the rules of the Great Khans. Another zone of Mongol life where ladies were effectively included was religion. Strict beliefs. The Mongols' religion had no consecrated writings or specific functions except for was, fairly, a blend of animism, progenitor love, and shamanism. Occurrences of the components of fire, earth, and water, noteworthy geological locales like mountains and normal marvels, for example, storms were considered to have spirits. Shamans, who could be the two people, were figured ready to, in a condition of daze, speak with these spirits and travel in their reality, assisting with discovering lost spirits and heavenly future occasions. Different religions were available among the Mongols, quite Nestorian Christianity and, from the 14th century CE, Tibetan Buddhism, Lamaism, got mainstream, maybe on account of its shamanistic components. Islam was additionally generally received in the Western Khanates. Most importantly, however, there was a boundless confidence in the chief two gods, the earth or mother goddess, known as Etugan, Itagen, who addressed fruitfulness, and Tengri, Gokmonga Tengjeri, the blue sky, or everlasting heaven. This last god was viewed as a defender god and, vitally, he was thought by the ancestral elites to have given the Mongol individuals a heavenly option to govern the whole world. Genghis Khan and his replacements would place this thought into annihilating practice by vanquishing practically the whole mainland of Asia and making the biggest domain at any point seen up to that time ever. Establishment by Genghis Khan. The Mongol itinerant clans were at that point, used to an extreme life, were profoundly versatile naturally and were prepared from youth to ride ponies and shoot bows. These characteristics would make them into fantastic fighters ready to persevere through long and complex missions, cover immense measures of an area in a short space of time and get by on just unquestionably the base of provisions. Indeed, even the job of ladies and their tasks of camp production and transportation helped the Mongol armed force as they offered the fundamental calculated help for their significant other fighters. Genghis Khan was maybe the principal Mongol pioneer to understand that if just the different clans and tribes could be joined together, the Mongols could dominate the world. Genghis, conceived Temujin c. 1162 CE, conquered a cruel adolescence of relinquishment and destitution and set up himself as a capable military leader for Tokrul, head of the Kerak clan. The life and seasons of Genghis are divulged in the Secret History of the Mongols, a 13th century CE annal which is our best essential hotspot for the early realm. Over a time of around a long time from 1195 to 1205 CE, Genghis turned into an innovator by his own doing and gradually extended his area through a savage combination of tact, fighting, and dread. For some champions it was frequently an instance of join the youthful pioneer or be executed. Clans like the Tatars, a name middle-aged Westerners wrongly applied to the actual Mongols, Keraids, Naimans, and Merkids were aligned. At last, in 1206 CE in a stupendous gathering of every ancestral pioneer, a Kurultai, Genghis was officially perceived as the Great Khan or all-inclusive leader of the Mongols. The Khan endeavored to additionally bind together his domain by demanding that the up to this point just communicated in Mongol language was made into a kept in touch with one utilizing the content of the Uyghur Turks and by presenting an enduring law code, the Yasa. Correspondence was extraordinarily helped by the foundation of the Yam, an organization of arranging posts which couriers could use for resupply as they rode across the state. The realm had effectively started decisively, however it was going to get a ton greater. Development, Northern China and Persia. Mongol ancestral pioneers had generally accomplished and afterward kept up their situation of force by appropriating war goods among their steadfast adherents, and Genghis was the same. The Mongol armed force was based around a center 10,000 men, which was the Khan's very own guardian, the Keshiktan. Individuals from this world class would likewise stand firm on key regulatory footings across the domain. Extra soldiers were acquired through induction of the Mongol clans and contingents from partners and vanquished domains. The fundamental hostile weapon was the light cavalry with its rider's master at shooting the amazing Mongol composite bow. Mongol ponies were another resource both for their solidness and endurance, yet additionally their sheer numbers, permitting riders up to 16 extra mounts, which implied a military could travel tremendous distances with incredible speed. Genghis' first objective in the wake of turning out to be Great Khan was the Jin state, otherwise known as Jurchen Jin Dynasty, 1115 to 1234 CE, in northern China. The speed of the Mongol ranges and the fear strategies when managing court-urban communities procured profits, and the inside-cracked Jin state had to withdraw toward the south. A synchronous objective was the Tangut territory of Shichia, otherwise known as Hsi Xia, 1038 to 1227 CE. additionally in northern China and comparably unequipped for halting Genghis' persistent advancement across East Asia. The third objective in this period was Song Dynasty China, also known as Sung, 960-1279 CE. More extravagant and more remarkable than its neighbors, the Song demonstrated stronger, in spite of Genghis terminating a large number of their urban areas, yet their opportunity would arrive. By 1219 CE, even northern Korea had been assaulted as Genghis pursued down the irksome Khitan clans who had escaped there. The Khan endeavored to additionally bring together his domain by demanding that the heretofore just communicated in Mongol language was made into a thought of one utilizing the content of the Uyghur Turks and by presenting an enduring law code, the Yasa. Correspondence was significantly helped by the foundation of the Yam, an organization of arranging posts which couriers could use for resupply as they rode across the state. The realm had effectively started vigorously, yet it was going to get a ton greater. Development, Northern China and Persia. Mongol ancestral pioneers had generally accomplished and afterward kept up their situation of force by disseminating war goods among their faithful adherents, and Genghis was the same. The Mongol armed force was based around a center 10,000 men, which was the Khan's very own guardian, the Keshiktan. Individuals from this tip-top would likewise stand firm on key managerial footholds across the realm. Extra soldiers were acquired through induction of the Mongol clans and contingents from partners and vanquished regions. The fundamental hostile weapon was the light ranges with its rider's master at shooting the amazing Mongol composite bow. Mongol ponies were another resource both for their durability and endurance, yet additionally their sheer numbers, permitting riders up to 16 extra mounts, which implied a military could travel tremendous distances with incredible speed. Genghis' first objective in the wake of turning out to be Great Khan was the Jin state, also known as Jurchen Jin Dynasty, 1115–1234 CE, in northern China. The speed of the Mongol ranges and the fear strategies when managing court urban communities harvested profits, and the inside cracked Jin state had to withdraw toward the south. A synchronous objective was the Tangut province of Shi-Chia, otherwise known as Hsi-Xia, 1038–1227 CE, additionally in northern China and also unequipped for halting Genghis' persevering advancement across East Asia. The third objective in this period was Song Dynasty China, also known as Sung, 960–1279 CE. More extravagant and more impressive than its neighbors, the Song demonstrated stronger, regardless of Genghis firing a large number of their urban communities. However, their opportunity would arrive. By 1219 CE, even northern Korea had been assaulted as Genghis pursued down the inconvenient Khitan clans who had escaped there. Apparently plan on acquiring his title as all-inclusive ruler, Genghis currently directed his concentration toward Western Asia. From 1218 CE, the Persian Quarassum Empire was assaulted. A Mongol multitude of 100,000 men cleared any and all individuals to the side, catching such striking urban communities as Bukhara and Samarkand. In 1221 CE the Mongols cleared into northern Afghanistan. In 1222 CE a Russian armed force was crushed at Khalkha, and afterward the Caspian Ocean was completely encompassed as the military got back. The Muslims of the locale currently had another title for Genghis, the detestable one. Sites had been annihilated down to their establishments, regular people were slaughtered, and even water system frameworks were destroyed. The Asian world had been flipped around in under 20 years. Genghis Khan passed on the 18th of August 1227 CE of an obscure disease, yet his replacements would guarantee the Mongol New World request would far outlive its maker. Agedei Khan attacks Europe. Genghis had declared that his domain was to be partitioned among his 4 children Jochi, Chagatai, Chahadai, Tolui, Tolui, and Agedei, Ogadei, with each administering a khanate, in spite of the fact that Jochi would predecease his dad in 1227 CE. Agedei turned into the new Great Khan, R. 1229–1241 CE, and hence leader of the relative multitude of Mongols. The bound-together domain would suffer until 1260 CE when the Four Khanates turned out to be completely self-ruling, see beneath. Ogedei Khan further solidified the Mongol state mechanical assembly by naming individuals from the royal guardian and pastors as territorial lead representatives, Darakachi, directing an enumeration and forcing a legitimate assessment framework, instead of the simple seizure of property. In 1235 CE, a capital was chosen, Karakorum, in Mongolia. The Yam network was extended, wells were ensured along shipping lanes, and voyaging dealers were given military security. Regarding successors, Ogedei conveyed directly on the latest relevant point of interest and, with the assistance of the skilled general Subutai, also known as Subiatai, 1176 to 1248 CE, known as one of the Four Hounds of the Khan, battled against the Jin in 1230 to 1 CE. The Jin capital of Kaifeng fell in 1233 CE, and the mission of 1234 CE achieved the self-destruction of the Jin sovereign, Azong, R. 1224 to 1234 CE, and the aggregate and last breakdown of the Jin state. Korea was over and again struck in this period, as well. From 1235 CE Subutai composed the mission across Central Asia, catching such urban communities as Tiflis, Tbilisi. From 1236 CE to 1242 CE, a multitude of 150,000 men coordinated in 5 isolated divisions at that point walked through Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan to assault Eastern Europe around the Volga waterway. Triumphs were acquired against the Bulgars, Rus, Poles, and Hungarians in different missions. Apparently appearing suddenly, the Mongol mounted force got known as the Horsemen of the Devil. Great urban communities like Kiev, 1240 CE, Krakow, 1241 CE, Buda and Pest, 1241 CE, were totally sacked and plundered. It appeared to be that lone Ogedei's passing in 1241 CE saved Europe from additional invasions, as the Mongol chiefs were then constrained to get back to Karakorum to choose another Khan. The following 2 Khans would be Guyuk Khan, R. 1246 to 1248 CE, and Mongki Khan, R. 1251 to 1259 CE, with officials managing in the middle. However, it would be Kublai, grandson of Genghis, who showed the best aspiration as he took the Mongol successors to an unheard-of level. Kublai Khan attacks China and Japan. Kublai Khan would rule from 1260 to 1294 CE. However, he had effectively established a connection before that when he battled with Mongki Khan against Song China. Kublai needed to fight with his more youthful sibling Arik Bokeh, 1219 to 1266 CE, for the situation of Great Khan. However, Kublai won and, regardless of whether the realm was presently adequately part into 4 Khanates, he had the reassurance that his part stayed the most extravagant. Kublai, regardless, was aspiring for a title considerably more lofty, Chinese head. Thusly, the Song were again assaulted, yet this time Kublai occupied with attack fighting utilizing unrivaled launches, information obtained from Western Asia. Many a city fell throughout the following 11 years and, with the fall of the capital Linan on the 28th of March 1276 CE, so too fell the Song dynasty. On the 19th of March 1279 CE, an incredible maritime fight was succeeded at Yashan close to cutting-edge Macau, another occurrence of fruitful variation in Mongol fighting, and the absolute last Song opposition suppressed. Kublai had crushed what all steppe wanderers before him had longed for, the powerful and colossally rich territory of China. In 1271 CE, Kublai pronounced himself the ruler of China and his new request the Yuan dynasty, signifying starting point or focus. Daidu, Beijing, was made the new capital, with Xanadu, Shangdu, in the Upper East being the head's mid-year retreat. Demonstrating as capable a director as he was a hero, Kublai coordinated his gigantic state into 12 territories and advanced exchange through valuable tax collection for shippers, the consolation of paper cash, and improving street and channel organizations to all the more likely vehicle products. Kublai was not fulfilled, however, and dispatched 2 assaults on Japan in 1274 and 1281 CE. Both would come up short because of steadfast neighborhood obstruction and horrendous tempests the Japanese would call kamikaze or heavenly breezes. Undeterred, Kublai dispatched assaults in Southeast Asia with intrusions of Vietnam, 1257, 1281, and 1286 CE, Burma, 1277 and 1287 CE, and Java, 1292 CE, all accomplishing just splendid outcomes. It appeared to be the Mongol Empire had arrived at its peak, and the 13th century CE would now just see a decay. The Khanates and decline. While the great Khans had been distracted with the eastern piece of the Mongol Empire, the focal and western parts generally headed out in a different direction. The Golden Horde, focused on the western Eurasian steppe, was established by Batu Khan, d. 1255 CE, grandson of Genghis, around 1227 CE. It would outlive all the others, formally ending in 1480 CE, yet from the mid-14th century CE, the Russians and Lithuanians were resurgent nearby. The Ilkhanate, focused on Persia, was established by Hulegu, d. 1265 CE, another grandson of Genghis around 1260 CE. It would be continually undermined by its southeastern neighbor the Mamluk Sultanate, 1261 to 1517 CE, and crumbled because of dynastic debates in 1335 CE. The Chagatai Khanate was set up by Chagatai, 1183 to 1242 CE, the second child of Genghis, and would stay the most genuinely Mongol state where migrant roots demonstrated hard to shake off. Once more, dynastic debates acquired its breakdown 1363 CE. Every one of the three Western Khanates would continually battle each other in line debates. Each would in the end receive Islam as their state religion, itself one more bone of conflict between elites. The regions of the Ilkhanate and Chagatai Khanate were in the long run taken over by Timur, Tamerlane, originator of the Timurid Empire, 1370 to 1507 CE. Indeed, even Yuan China surrendered to the generally very natural common conflicts from rival gatherings and, with a frail economy and plagued by starvations and limited uprisings, the Ming dynasty had the option to assume control over China in 1368 CE. Eventually, the Mongols had become a piece of the stationary social orders they had so effectively vanquished, which made them simply as helpless as some other state to a takeover by those willing to accept groundbreaking thoughts and advancements. The Mongol Legacy. The Mongols might not have pained numerous cutting-edge gallery custodians with their craft or left fine structures to appreciate, yet they left an enduring inheritance otherly. Maybe their most prominent impact on world culture was to make the principal genuine associations between the East and West. The Mongol Empire extended across 1/5 of the globe, and their troopers were obliged to battle Teutonic knights toward one side while at the other they confronted samurai fighters, neither of which adversary had any idea of the other's presence. Until now, the Chinese and Europeans had each seen different territories as a semi-legendary spot of beasts. As ministers, evangelists, shippers, and explorers like Marco Polo, 1254 to 1324 CE, were urged to openly cross Asia, so contact expanded, and thoughts and religions were spread. Black powder, paper, printing, and the compass all got comfortable in Europe. The Mongols spread thoughts in cooking, as well, for example, making their sulan, shulan, stock cum stew a famous dish across Asia even today. There were, less invaluable results, similar to the Black Death, 1347 to 1352 CE, first moved from a pocket of distant China to the Black Sea and from that point to Venice and the remainder of Europe. In Mongolia, however, the domain is recollected affectionately as a brilliant period, and Genghis Khan, the starter, all things considered, keeps on being respected with customary services in the Mongolian capital of Ulaanbaatar.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Life is Often if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.